Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a swearing-in ceremony for two of our council people who are going to continue to serve the city of Freeport. We have with us tonight Judge Lewis, who is so kind to come and do the oath of office first. And we'll begin with Councilwoman Hafner.
My husband's going to stand in front of me.
Raise your right hand.
Okay.
Place the information. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will repeat after me? Solemnly swear or affirm that I will
Solemnly swear.
I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida, and that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of Freeport City Council Seat 5.
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of Freeport City Council Seat 5.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Councilman Ferris.
And I'm gonna ask all my family to
Raise your right hand. Place your hand on the Bible. And you'll repeat after me. And I'm going to use this prompt for myself. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the government of the United States
the Constitution and the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully and well perform the duties of Freeport City Council
and I will faithfully and well perform the duties of the Freeport City Council,
Seat 3.
Seat 3.
Congratulations.
Thank you, family.
Yeah, that's what we came for.
I gotta remember to try to get it from you. Yeah, I was trying to get it to you when you were still at the park the other day, but seeing that, I was waiting for it. You were already gone. Oh, yeah, we can.
Congratulations, and thank you for continuing to serve on the council. I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the city of Freeport to order for July the 23rd, 2026. Please stand for invocation and pledge.
Father, we thank you for the day that you've given us. We thank you, God, most of all, for your blessing. We pray, Lord, that you will lead us, guide us, and direct us, and we'll give you the honor and praise for this. We ask in your name.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
not, I'd like to recognize Liberty Partners for being with us, Ms. Green and Tim. Thank you so much. On the consent agenda, under tab 1 are the bills for the city of Freeport. Tab 2 are the regular council meeting minutes for July the 14th, 2026. And tab 3, the revenue and expenditure reports through June of 2026. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask the council for approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Councilwoman Brennan.
Yes, I need to add on about the Highway 20 road resurfacing and turn lanes that we discussed at the last one.
Okay.
Mayor Barty, I would need to add Winter Circle sidewalk extensions.
Sidewalk extension, okay.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to add on our city of Freeport signs in Nashville.
Any more?
Yes, Mayor, I have one request in the setting of our initial and final budget hearing.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, I have one for add-on for parks called pilot program.
For what program?
It's a pilot program.
Okay. Any others? If not, I'll ask the council for approval for the additions to tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Staff reports will begin with the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. I have one item, which is looking for an approval of the renewal contract for Liberty Partners. I believe they're going to come up and speak. I don't know if you want to vote first or last or whatever. I don't want to do it. Come on.
No pressure on you. Good to see y'all again. Always enjoy visiting. I think sometimes Tim and I are myself forward in issues in Freeport because they go so effectively well. Tim's going to walk through this presentation pretty quickly, but if you have any questions, certainly let us know. Stop in the middle of it. I know that the property tax issue is not huge on your radar. That's unlike a lot of other areas, so that's good kudos for you. But we're proud to have worked with y'all since 2018, and we're proud. We need to hit 20 million. We're at 19 and change. So we're very happy, and again, I know we're doing great things at Freeport. So I'm going to hand it over to Tim.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. It's so good to be here this evening and finally out of Tallahassee, as I mentioned. We started in early January, and then due to the number of special sessions and stuff, it really felt more like a year-round legislature. But it was definitely a hard 6 months, like I said, between the legislative session, then not getting the budget done during those 60 days, coming back again for that, as well as a number of other issues. But if you could go to the first slide, you'll see what I'm referring to just this year. You'll see the regular session and then 3 special sessions that followed. But if you do the math for 2025 and 2026, you'll look historically, we've had more special sessions these 2 years than I think we've had since the early 90s. So there's a little bit of fatigue that's set in. Your delegation, Representative Abbott and Senator Trumbull, of course, did great work for you all, as they do each year. Like I said, just know that I think the feeling there in the Capitol was, why are we still here? But, they ended up doing several things in those special sessions that we'll get to. First of all, I just want to touch briefly on the party makeup in the House and the Senate. You'll see that Republicans hold a supermajority in both the House and the Senate. Those numbers are changing just a little bit. There were some, special sessions recently that we saw Democrats pick up a couple seats, one down in Tampa in the Senate seat, and then a House seat in Palm Beach County. I think the Republican Party hopes to flip those back this year during the regular election. But like I said, it's unlikely that some of those numbers, especially with regards to the Republican majority, will be impacted this year. But we'll certainly see what the election holds this year. Next slide. This is kind of an overview. Just first of all, the number of bills that we track. They're close to 2,000. That we at least flag if it has a local government applicability to it, or something that we think may be of interest to the city. Now you see the number of bills that are passed significantly lower, and that number is actually lower than what we've seen the last few years. Fewer and fewer bills are passed each year, which, like I said, sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But like I said, those numbers are down. But majority of those were signed by the governor, with the exception of 8 that he vetoed this year. A little bit higher number than I think we've seen the number of vetoes the last few years. So there was one related to e-bikes, one related to sovereign immunity that were vetoed, and then there was I think a resolution that went to the Department of State, should round out that number. But next slide. Just some pictures of the Capitol. Mayor, we had you were at the Rural Summit this last year. Hopefully you'll be back again this year, and anyone from the council, and the picture of the mayor there at the legislative delegation meeting prior to the legislative session. So, next slide. As I mentioned, there were a lot of bills that didn't pass this year. Here are some of the, I guess, the most noteworthy. If you recall, Mayor, certainly from the Rural Summit, the Rural Renaissance legislation that was a priority of the president the last 2 years failed again this year to get across the finish line. There was a lot of opposition from House leadership to that proposal, and as a result, we failed to see it become law this year. I think Representative Abbott also had a component of that he was hoping to get support for, but unfortunately, like I said, the House didn't want to entertain anything like that would have provided us some tremendous benefits to rural communities. Blue Ribbon Projects was a land development bill that had garnered a lot of momentum, mostly dealing with large tracts of property and some of the oversight that local governments have over land development. Local business taxes, I think, was one that we followed closely for you all. And again, a lot of this material we include in our weekly updates. We were very proud to get that information out to y'all each week, highlighting some of the key bills, and then also our monthly summaries that encapsulated everything that we've been working on that particular month. Something that we were hoping to see pass was the Senate Bill 180 rewrite, and to get some relief from that legislation that was passed the previous year, but unfortunately, again, I think it was some opposition in the House for getting that done. Again, I think Representative Abbott filed legislation that would have provided a little bit of relief there. AI Bill of Rights was something that we actually saw come back in one of the first special sessions that the governor really wanted, and again, I don't think there was much appetite in the House for that. And of course, as I mentioned, the budget wasn't passed during the regular session. But some of the key bills that passed, but then, as I mentioned, were not signed into law, was a sovereign immunity bill that increased the caps. That was vetoed by the governor, so even though it was agreed upon by the House and Senate, at the end of the day, the governor didn't support it. Local government finances, I think that's something that we've talked about here, that provides greater transparency of local government budgets. A lot of this, I think, y'all already do as far as posting the budget to the website, but it will also require you to do a 10% budget reduction exercise, just to see what that reduction would be if you had to do it, and to publish that information as well, and that would be in place next year. And then the land use development regulation that again, I think contributed to decreasing some of the oversight that local governments have with regard to that. The first special session that we saw after the regular session related to congressional redistricting. You may have heard a lot of discussion on this nationally. We saw a lot of different states that felt like here at the midpoint of mid-decade redistricting, 5 years after the census was conducted because of changes in population demographics and whatnot. Florida sought to redraw some of those congressional districts, I believe, in hopes that it might yield some additional Republican seats. Nobody knows how those seats are going to perform in November, but the governor did call the legislature back to consider some maps that he had provided, and so those were passed, but the House again really refused to take up those other two items, the AI Bill of Rights and the Medical Freedom bill that the governor had proposed. So we thought we might see another special session to deal with those two, and we haven't yet, but it's the governor's time in office isn't over quite yet. So next slide. Then they came back in special session E to take up and pass the budget, and we were very happy to see two of your top priorities be included in the budget this year. Another $1 million for Marquee Way East, and then an additional $500,000 for the 3280 water storage tank and well project. And then those projects survived the governor's veto again. So, we're really happy. You definitely want to get it in and then get his approval as well. So we were happy to see that. Quick overview of the state budget just from last year. We see what the governor recommended and what the eventual budget was after a number of vetoes there. And then we'll compare that with this year's budget on the next slide. You'll see the governor actually recommended a significant increase from last year. The legislature did not agree with that and left him a budget that he ended up taking action on $810 million to provide. And we've got a note there that there were some back of the bill adjustments, just some accounting differences. But what the legislature, the governor touting, is that they've reduced spending the last 4 consecutive years. Now we know that 2021 there was a lot of COVID, a lot of ARPA funds and stuff that were included in that budget. But since then, I think the state has, utilized all those funds, so we're back to really a more accurate baseline of what the state budget is and what state spending should be. So, and then we had the special session on the property tax that is now Amendment 3. We know that what the governor originally proposed would have also called for an elimination of school tax levies and some other tighter restraints on local government. The legislature did not feel the need to pass that particular proposal and came up with this proposal that you see here, and is now going to provide it to the voters to make their final decision. I mentioned those comments about the governor because he has since come out and said that while he's going to personally support it, it's not something that he's going to be publicly campaigning for. So at this point, I think we're all kind of waiting to see how that's going to play out, what the campaign against Amendment 3 is going to be. I know that Representative Abbott has called for a town hall sort of discussion on this on September the 8th, Mark. I think it's at the community center. So there's going to be opportunities to discuss what that impact might look like for the city, and just make sure that the voters are educated on what the passage of Amendment 3 could result in. And I say could because, if you'll look at the ballot title, which there is a challenge to that because the language is a little bit loaded when it states, save our homes from excessive taxation. The criticism of this when they were considering it wasn't that language. It's one that almost makes it impossible to vote against when you word it that way. Now that challenge may be overturned. I don't believe that period has passed yet in which we might not see a change in the ballot title and some of the summary. But the early polling that we've seen is that once voters kind of see the difference there, or maybe if it was retitled, then the initiative could fail to get 60%. But like I said, there's still a lot I think to be discussed and determined there. But not only And if it passes, because if it does, then the legislature will come back afterwards to pass what's called implementing legislation, in which a lot of the details of that initiative will then be kind of set forth by the legislature. I know Governor DeSantis has suggested that he would like to call them back in November or December while he's still in office to do that. But we don't know. We do know that there will be a new administration very soon. We know that with the elections in November, we'll have a new governor and we'll have new presiding officers in the House and the Senate. So we'll see if this passes, what it will look like once it's implemented. So, and then, like I said, here's an outline of what we're staring at with regards to the general election. Then, per the Constitution, the legislation will be back 2 weeks later for the organizational session when they'll, formally appoint their leaders. And then after that, we will be back at it with the 2027 legislative session. So that's kind of our summary. Like I said, I know we're proud to keep y'all informed of everything going on there. And like I said, keep you up to date. And like I said, if there's ever anything that you all need legislatively, grant related, we know there's going to be a lot of changes coming up, and we want to help position Freeport the best that we can.
Councilman Ferris.
You know, I want to tell both of y'all, we appreciate everything y'all do.
Yes.
Y'all have been a benefit to the city of Freeport.
Huge benefit.
And I appreciate y'all.
So, thank you.
I'll make a motion to continue the contract.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded to continue the contract with Liberty Partners. Is there any public comment? Any further discussion? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan. And Councilman Dickey. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Finance.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor, good to see you. What I want to put up forward today is the request for setting a date and time for our initial and final budget hearings. We have the dates from the school board and from the county commissioners, and so we need to set our dates. I have the calendar that, looking at the dates that they have chosen, that I suggested that this is September the 2nd for the initial. We have to advertise then that we will be holding a final hearing. So that gives us time to get that into the paper, and then we could have the final hearing on September the 15th.
And that's at 5:01, right?
Okay.
September.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan. Councilman Dickey. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Art.
Evening, Council Mayor.
Good evening.
So I didn't have anything on the agenda for this evening until this afternoon. I had a county employee approach me this afternoon. He was talking to me about that the county commissioners got approved for a grant for, they're called a pilot program. It's like 10 self-standing rescue boxes for it's Narcan. So they're putting them out all their parts, and one of them was mentioned about the 4-mile boat ramp. And so I told him, because it has the county sign, and then we maintain it also. And so I told him to hold on to that. So I called Mark and asked him what should we do. So we have an add-on to see if y'all want to put one there or.
Mark says, let's ask the council.
Councilwoman Hafner.
I just had a question. So is it like, I haven't seen one of these. Are they secured so like a child can't open it?
Yes, so it's on a 4x4. It stands pretty tall.
It's tall.
Yeah, it's tall, and like a box sits on it.
Okay.
So it's a waste of children,
Got it.
so they can't reach it.
And who maintains that when we stop?
In this paper that I handed y'all, it says the sheriff's department will come out and stop them.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Do you think that's a good place for it, or do you think we need it at the other, at the?
Well,
big
that's,
park? That's what my question is.
that's the place where I guess they mentioned with the county, and that's when he approached me about it. So if we can go forward, we can find a grant, because they got a grant with this, and if y'all want to go along with the county, we can also do that. We can also, I can find out to get a grant with it.
No more backup boxes in other locations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion to approve?
Yes, we do if you want to.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comments? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Farris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay,
Thank you.
so you're wanting me to go forward and look into this?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, miss.
You
Okay,
can go
thank
ahead,
you.
you can go ahead and put the one at 4 Mile Park and
Okay.
check out any grants if they want to.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an add-on item. Staff is requesting review and approval of the attached proposal from North Florida Professional Services to design a project and conduct the bid to construct. This is for the Freeport Regional Sports Complex Winter Circle sidewalk extensions. In the packet that I put in front of you, you have a task order. Mr. Mark Mason is here. I need to introduce him. He's one of our rotational engineers, and he's with North Florida Professional Services. They have offered to do this on an hourly rate for designing the project because it is so small. And he's already done a preliminary bid submittal of $4,049.76 for the bid package and also the details and specs for constructing those sidewalks. I have already reached out to the J. Odom Group and gotten verbal confirmation that if we'll prepare the easement, they are more than happy to sign.
Okay.
So I've already got that. Mark has already provided me with a description sketch based on the right-of-way of where the sidewalks are actually going to be, so we can prepare that document and send it to Clay for approval. So I'm asking for approval to move forward with this as presented. If you have any technical questions, Mark is here. But otherwise, this is something that we plan to get done in a matter of weeks, not months.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment?
Great job. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank
Councilwoman
you.
Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Farris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under new business, I need to, I need to anyway. I need permission to register for the Freeport Conference. This is in the locality here, the Opportunity Florida. And the registration is $475, and the hotel would be $675 for a total of $1,150. And before I can register, I need to have discussion and approval for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Farris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and get registered. Councilwoman Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor. As you're all aware, we talked about talking with DOT, getting up with the engineering firm, Paul Mayhow, and trying to figure out what we could do to try to alleviate some of the traffic in Freeport with the turn lanes. And we originally got a absolutely not, but now we've received word back. I know that Latilda and Cliff had a conference, and Mark with that engineering firm. They're going to do a presentation on August the 11th. But because we were in the middle of budget workshops, I think that we should have the discussion at our August the 3rd, even though we may not have the entire package, but what I've been told is $750,000 a turn lane.
Okay.
So that's something that we can talk about in our budget when we're looking, and then maybe we'll have the presentation on August the 11th, and then we can go forward with making some decisions.
Okay.
And I know that we've also talked with our lobbying firm, and they're aware of our needs, and they actually got caught up in traffic this afternoon, so they got to see it firsthand.
Councilman Brandon, I have a read-ahead that I'm going to be providing to the council with a matrix of all the intersections from even further out in Blueberry over to 4 Mile Road and different areas and different options, who all we talked to, so that you guys have a list of all the different problem areas. I drive it every day too, I understand, and there are options for each one, and I'll be providing to that in the next couple of days, so you have it to kind of refer to when you start thinking about assigning numbers to these things.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Hurst.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I just wanted us to have a discussion. I know that our last meeting, the town planners had so graciously offered to revamp some of the landscaping around our city of Freeport signs, and with it being budget time, and since they've made that offer, I really wanted us to consider investing in revamping those a bit. You know, we've had those for nearly a decade. They're not well illuminated, as the mayor pointed out. They're really small. They're hard for pedestrians and patrons to delineate the city limits and to see in general, honestly. And they've been there a while. So I would like us to kind of discuss that, get some feedback from you guys. I'd like for planning to get the approval, to get some pricing, to see what that would cost, and maybe we can work in collaboration with town planners and their thoughts on landscaping to make something that's more indicative of the growth of Freeport and the pride that we have for our town, and just kind of wanted to see what everybody thought about that. Do we?
Councilwoman Brown.
I think that's a great idea. I actually never liked the signs, and I voted against them at the very onset, however many years ago, it was a nay vote. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I've never liked those signs. So I think they absolutely need to be revamped. But also, I'm hoping that DOT has gotten a little bit better, because it took us 6 years to put those signs out after they were approved by us. So it took that many years to finally get them put up and get approval from DOT. So I don't know if they're any better now than they were back then, but even if we revamp the beautiful sign, we might not be here by the time they go up. Just saying, I don't have a problem with that. We're looking at that.
Councilman Ferris.
And I do agree. I think we need to look at it. They need to be bigger, whatever. I think all of us that did vote to approve those are a little shocked when we realized how small they were.
Good.
Councilwoman Ferris, the idea is to create a sign with a much stronger base and more mass and more presence, using a combination of materials like riverwalk and stone, so it has more presence when you move in. You know you're going into a city that has some pride. Do some backlighting behind the Freeport on it. Have some reference to the anchor, but also in the base create planting beds and some opportunities for landscaping near the sign. That's going to have more presence. So if the town planner is going to make a project to put seasonal color in every year, it's already set up. They just get to choose the beautiful flowers and every, it's like when you go through Water Bay. Every time the season changes, there are different flowers. And that may be something the town planners would be interested in doing. And, of course, we always have our landscaping funds available to us. We decide to put more permanent trees, or we could incorporate some of our sculpture that we've done and been very successful with. But the idea is to have something that when you come into the city from any direction, then you have a sense of the city pride and the city place and the fact that we are a community that values quality of life. So we're already sending out solicitations or signs that have certain elements that we know we need to have. It certainly doesn't need to be a little tombstone. It needs to have some presence. We want to make sure that it has planning areas for the town planners to do what they do so well. And so that when you see it, say, I like that. I just like that. That needs to be your first reaction when you see a city sign.
Yes.
So you're going to gather information and bring it back?
Yes, sir.
I have a question on that, Mayor. I know when we did the littler signs, we didn't do any of the other park signs, and those, I don't think we did the full sign. Are we going to look at anything different for those? Because those are pretty,
They're pretty
those
shy.
have lived their
Those
life.
from the time before last, so.
I mean,
So you look at any
I know
sign
last time we didn't do those, but maybe look at those too. Because I know they've been power washed and clean, but they just look like they lived their life.
They live the longest
They
life.
live their life, yeah.
And it's important, and you guys know how passionate I am about this, that we have some continuity,
Absolutely.
and it needs to have a sense of scale, so that no matter what they're looking at, they know this is a city that cares about what's in it.
Sure. Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Hafner?
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to bring up the e-bikes. I know we're waiting on the legislature to do that, and they didn't pass anything for e-bikes. So I can say for me personally, I've almost got run over by a bunch of those when I'm biking, and I've been walking, and they're out of control. So I didn't know if the council had any thoughts that we could try to put something together, because they're so dangerous.
I'll be glad to circulate with Mr. Martin. He can send to each of you the workshop. The county held a workshop in conjunction with the sheriff's office on e-bikes.
Okay.
County engineering had a number of recommendations. The BCC will actually considering it at their next meeting. They have taken some different approaches than the first version that was a little more all-encompassing. For instance, one of the suggestions that was initially made was no electric bicycles of any type on sidewalks, with the sidewalk being a pathway dedicated to foot traffic only. That's now been backed off and said, well, it should only be no 2s and 3s or e-motos. I'll send that to you to take a look at. Ultimately, I hope that then for everybody, that the micro-mobility bill would pass, which would provide some guidance. There was a task force to come out of that. The governor, of course, noted that one of the reasons he denied was the task force came after the bill was adopted, rather than the front end and the potential unenforceability of it. So I will send some documentation out of what their proposals are. You actually have to look at the BCC agenda. I did a merge document between what our original proposed ordinance would have been and what the engineering changes are, so you can see them with green and yellow highlighting. I'll send that to Mr. Martin, make sure you can see it. Y'all can review it. If y'all just call me at your convenience and tell me which version you'd like to see or thoughts, I can kind of assemble the thoughts and present it at the next board meeting. We got to have 2 meetings to adopt, but we'll have it back at the next one if you're ready.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Well, it is definitely something we need to do. The other problem is you're seeing a lot of issues with companies that have become very clever about rating the wattage, the power of the e-bike below the threshold of the statute, but due to the size of the actual tires, the wheels, the rotation rate, they can achieve speeds well in excess of what the legislature intended.
Right.
And some of this is what's causing problems. So you see some of these e-motos are hitting 75 plus miles per hour, but are falling into the statutory rating that truly would not require you to even have a driver's license.
It's really dangerous.
Thank you for bringing something back to us, because it definitely needs to be addressed.
So I'll circulate out what's going to go to the boards, on the BCC's meeting at the next one to take a look at, so you can see kind of what they heard. I will tell you, I talked to sheriff's representatives. I'm not going to try to get back and forth with what engineering discussed. You'll see there's a lot of discussion about what you define trails and uses are. For instance, the county has a 38 bike path.
Right.
So they have a few different things than we do in Freeport, so we may need to look with Latilda and talk about our sidewalks and our multi-use trails as opposed to the way theirs were. I think a lot of the engineering changes there were geared there. The big thing from the sheriff's office was the way we implement ID and some of those issues. and considerations of
Whatever
others.
you adopt, we can make it an appendix to the land development code so that it's always right there and we won't have to, we'll just adopt it as an appendix. Because we
Yeah.
don't have any language in there about e-bike, we can add this as an appendix to the land development code and enforce it.
But what we're gonna, if we do adopt it, we actually, the code of ordinances, what we wanna do is merge the definitions of shared use trail, sidewalk, multi-use path from the code to the appendix of the LDC so that everybody uses and understands. Yeah, it's not enough to say a sidewalk is slightly bigger than than this or vice versa.
Right.
We need good definitions, and so I'll circulate it out to everybody and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, thank you, appreciate it.
Is there any public comment? Meeting adjourned.
Thought you might have any kind of as-bills for the water line that goes in. That's all you're good. The water line that